You keep looking at your phone, you know you do, waiting for a name to light up the screen. A name that belongs to someone who has proven time and time again that they are an emotional black hole. They offer you crumbs and you call it a feast. They give you silence and you interpret it as depth. They show you indifference and you call it a challenge. And in the quiet, desperate moments, you ask yourself the question that shreds your soul. Why do I love or think I love someone who can't give me anything? You think it's a failure of your heart, a lapse in judgment, bad luck. You are wrong. This is not a mistake. It is a message. It is a symptom of a deeper condition, a psychic injury that the great physician of the soul, Carl Jung, would call a wound. This attraction, this magnetic, illogical, self-destructive pull towards the emotionally barren, it is the wound itself, calling out for a cure. It's a homing beacon activated by your own unhealed parts, desperately seeking a mirror in the outside world. Today, we are not going to talk about dating tips. We are not going to talk about how to win them over or make them see your worth. That is the language of beggars. Today, we perform surgery. We are going to dissect this wound. We will trace its origins back to the ghosts of your childhood. We will expose the psychological machinery that makes you project your salvation onto a person who can barely save themselves. And we will forge a path not to them but back to you. This is the brutal, honest truth about the wound that makes you love someone who can't give you anything, Carl Jung. And by the end of this, you will understand that this pattern isn't your destiny. It is a diagnostic tool. It is a map pointing directly to the place where your real work begins. Part 1: The Anatomy of the Wound, the Primal Complex. Before we can heal the wound, we must name it. In Jungian psychology, the source of this pattern is often what is called a complex. Forget the casual use of the word. A complex isn't just a quirk. It is an emotionally charged cluster of memories, thoughts, and feelings buried deep in your unconscious that functions like a separate, splintered personality. It has its own gravity, its own agenda. And the most powerful complexes of all are forged in the crucible of your earliest relationships, the ones with your parents. This is the mother or father complex. This is the original wound. It's the template. It's the first definition of love you ever received. And if that definition was written in the ink of neglect, absence, criticism, or chaos, your unconscious mind will spend the rest of your life trying to find someone who speaks that same painful language, hoping this time to finally get a different translation. Let's make this real. Picture a woman we'll call Alara. Growing up, her father was a ghost in a suit. He was physically present but emotionally 1,000 miles away. He was a provider, a titan of industry, but his love was conditional, transactional. It was measured in report cards and achievements. A pluses earned a brief, approving nod. A championship trophy earned a rare smile, but emotional intimacy, vulnerability, unconditional presence, that was a foreign currency he did not possess. The wound Alara carried was a gaping hole shaped like, I am only worthy of love when I am performing. The ambient feeling of her childhood was a quiet, humming anxiety of never being quite good enough to earn his steady, warm attention. Now fast forward 20 years. Alara is successful, intelligent, and beautiful, and she is perpetually, magnetically drawn to men who are replicas of her father. She falls for the high-powered CEO who cancels dates for work. The brilliant artist who is too consumed by his muse to offer her consistent emotional support. The charismatic entrepreneur who showers her with attention for a week, then vanishes into a project for a month. Her friends see it clearly. He's emotionally unavailable, they say. He doesn't value you, but they don't understand. Alara doesn't consciously choose these men, her complex chooses them. When a man like this shows her intermittent attention, it doesn't feel like a red flag to her, it feels like home. That frantic, anxious energy of trying to be good enough to finally win his full focus, that's the feeling she mistakes for love. The rare moment he gives her his undivided attention feels like an ecstatic victory, a drug-like high, because it's the exact same reward system her father programmed into her. She is not in love with this man. She is in love with a second chance. She has unconsciously cast him in the role of her distant father, and she is playing out a desperate, unwinnable drama to finally heal the original wound. The man himself is almost irrelevant. He is just a screen. The person she is trying to get love from is a ghost. This is why he can't give her anything. His role in her psychological play is not to give her love. His role is to be the person who withholds it, so she can keep trying to win it. Ignoring this is a life sentence of emotional starvation. You will spend your energy, your beauty, your precious time trying to draw water from a dry well, all because the sand feels familiar. You will contort yourself into a pretzel, trying to be more interesting, more sexy, more successful, more understanding. Whatever you think the secret password is to unlock their heart, failing to realize their heart was never locked. It's just empty. The consequence is the slow erosion of your self-worth. You start to believe the problem is you aren't enough, and so the wound deepens. The first step to healing is not to blame your parents. Blame is a dead end. The first step is brutal, unflinching awareness. It's an archaeological dig into your own past. So here is your first actionable step. This is not a suggestion, it is a command. Take out a journal. Title a page, "The First Love I Knew." Divide it into 2 columns, one for your mother, one for your father. Now answer these questions for each with savage honesty. How did they show love? Was it with words, actions, gifts, or was it absent? What did I have to do to receive that love? Was it conditional on my behavior, my grades, my compliance? What was missing? What did I crave from them that I never received? Warmth, stability, to be seen, to be celebrated for just existing. Now on a new page, describe your last few romantic obsessions. The people you were drawn to who could give you nothing. Describe the dynamic. Describe what you were chasing. Now place the pages side by side. See the echo. See the pattern. Do not flinch. This is the blueprint of your wound. Looking at it, truly seeing it for the first time, is the first act of defiance against its power. You are no longer a victim of the pattern. You are now its investigator. Part 2. The mechanism of attraction, the anima and animus projection. If the parental complex is the wound, then projection is the mechanism that makes it fester in your romantic life. Jung gave us a profound concept for understanding attraction, the anima and animus. The anima is the unconscious feminine aspect within a man. The animus is the unconscious masculine aspect within a woman. These are not about gender roles, they are archetypal energies. The anima represents eros, connection, emotion, and creativity. The animus represents logos, structure, reason, and assertion. In a psychologically healthy individual, these inner figures are developed and integrated. A man is in touch with his anima, his emotional world. A woman is in touch with her animus, her inner authority and reason. But when the primary wound from childhood exists, this inner figure is often stunted, distorted, or underdeveloped. And because we cannot tolerate a vacuum, we project this undeveloped part of ourselves onto an external person. We don't fall in love with the person, we fall in love with our own missing soul, which we have superimposed onto them. Let's create another character, Liam. Liam's mother was his world, but it was a world of chaos. She was loving but emotionally volatile, smothering one moment and neglectful the next. Her love was a whirlwind of drama, tears, and passionate reconciliations. She leaned on him for emotional support he was too young to give. As a result, Liam's inner feminine, his anima, is not a figure of serene, stable connection. His anima is a chaotic, wounded, dramatic siren. He consciously craves peace and stability, but his unconscious is programmed to find his anima. So who does Liam fall for? He falls for women who are beautiful train wrecks, women who create drama, who are emotionally unpredictable, who need saving. He enters the relationship as the rescuer, the calm, stable rock, but he is irresistibly drawn to their chaos because their external chaos perfectly matches his internal anima. He mistakes the intense anxiety and drama of the relationship for passion. He thinks, this is so real, so intense, it must be love. He is not loving these women. He is trying to manage his own chaotic inner world by controlling it in an external person. He's trying to fix the woman, but he's really trying to fix his own mother, and by extension, his own wounded anima. The woman he chooses can't give him anything in terms of stability or peace because her designated role in his psychic drama is to be the embodiment of chaos. If she suddenly became peaceful and stable, the projection would shatter and the attraction would likely vanish. He needs her to be a mess because it allows him to engage with the mess inside himself without having to own it. The brutal truth is this: when you are in the grip of a powerful projection, you are not seeing the other person at all. You are seeing a ghost. You are seeing your own potential, your own fears, your own disowned parts, all playing out on the movie screen of their face. This is why you can become so obsessed with someone who, from the outside, seems so obviously wrong for you. Your friends are watching a low-budget indie film, but you are watching the epic of your own soul's salvation. To continue living in this state of projection is to live in a fantasy. It dooms you to a cycle of disappointment. You will keep trying to force a real, flawed human being into the shape of your inner god or goddess, and they will fail every time. And you will blame them, calling them a disappointment, when you were the one who hired them for a role they never auditioned for. The path out of this is to withdraw the projection. This is a painful, disorienting process. It feels like love dying, but what is actually dying is an illusion. The actionable step here is a Jungian technique called active imagination. It is the process of dialoguing with your inner figures directly. Tonight, before you sleep, find a quiet space. Close your eyes and invite your inner figure, your anima or animus, to appear. Don't force it. Let an image emerge. It might be a person, a creature, an energy. Now begin a dialogue. Ask it questions. If you are a man like Liam, you ask this inner feminine figure, what do you want? What do you feel? Why do you crave chaos? If you are a woman like Alara, you ask your inner masculine figure, what do you truly value? What kind of strength do you represent? Listen to the answers. Don't judge them. Write them down. The goal is to start building a relationship with this part of yourself. You learn to give your anima the emotional attention it craves, so you stop demanding it from chaotic partners. You learn to cultivate the strength and validation of your animus within yourself, so you stop searching for it in emotionally distant men. You are taking back the power. You are ending the movie and turning on the lights. It's terrifying at first because you have to let go of the fantasy that someone else is your savior. But what you gain is reality. And in reality, you can finally build something real. Part 3: The Hall of Mirrors, the Shadow and Repetition Compulsion. There is a third, more subversive force at play, one that fuels this attraction to the person who can give you nothing. This is the realm of the shadow. The shadow, in Jung's terms, is everything about ourselves that we have repressed and disowned. It is the parts of our personality that we deem unacceptable, weak, or not me. It's our anger, our neediness, our laziness, our wildness, our vulnerability, all the things our ego, our family, and society told us to lock away in the basement of our psyche. But here is the law of the psyche. What you repress does not go away. It seethes in the dark and it will find a way out. One of the most common ways it gets out is through projection. We don't just project our idealized anima or animus, we also project our shadow. And we are often secretly, perversely, and powerfully drawn to people who live out the very shadow qualities we have denied in ourselves. Consider a man we'll call Marcus. Marcus is the good guy. He prides himself on his responsibility, his discipline, his unwavering control. He has a good job, pays his bills on time, and never lets anyone down. He has meticulously constructed an identity as a pillar of stability. In the process, he has brutally repressed his own shadow, his desire for spontaneity, for freedom, for a little bit of recklessness. The part of him that wants to quit his job and travel the world, the part that wants to sleep in on a weekday, the part that wants to be irresponsible for just one day, all of it is locked in the dungeon. Then he meets her. She is a whirlwind, a free spirit. She has no stable job, lives from one moment to the next, is terrible with money, and her life is a beautiful, chaotic mess. On the surface, Marcus judges her. He sees her as flawed, in need of fixing. He tells himself he is attracted to her because he can help her, give her the structure she so clearly lacks. This is a lie he tells himself to make the attraction palatable. The brutal truth is that he is not attracted to her. He is attracted to his own disowned freedom, which she embodies. She is living out his shadow for him. He doesn't have to risk being spontaneous or irresponsible himself. He can just get close to it through her. His conscious mind criticizes her lack of discipline, but his unconscious soul is drinking her in like a man dying of thirst. This is why she can't give him anything in a conventional sense. She can't give him the stability he claims to want because her role is to shatter his stability. Her function in his life is not to be a partner, but to be a mirror to his own repressed self. The relationship becomes a toxic dance. He tries to tame her, to make her more like him, which is really an attempt to tame his own shadow. She in turn may be drawn to his stability, which is her shadow. They are not connecting as two whole people. They are two half people, each obsessed with the other's missing pieces. Living this way turns you into a hypocrite. You become rigid, judgmental, and secretly envious of the very people you criticize. You are living a half-life, policed by your own internal tyrant, while being fascinated by those who have broken out of their own prison. The relationship is built on a lie, a secret contract of mutual projection that has nothing to do with love and everything to do with psychic desperation. The way out is the most courageous work a human being can do, shadow work. It is the process of turning around, unlocking the basement door, and making friends with the monster you've locked inside. The monster is usually just a scared, neglected part of you. As Jung said, the gold is in the dark. Your greatest strength is often hidden in your greatest weakness. Here is the actionable demand for integrating your shadow. Get that journal again. Make a list of all the things that intensely irritate, anger, or disgust you in other people. Be specific. The person who is always late, the loudmouth at the party, the needy, attention-seeking friend, the lazy coworker, the arrogant influencer. Now for each one, ask yourself this brutal, ego-destroying question. Where does 1% of this quality exist in me? Find it. Find the tiny, hidden seed of laziness in your relentless productivity. Find the secret desire for attention behind your quiet humility. Find the whisper of arrogance in your certainty. Own it, not to act on it destructively, but to acknowledge its existence. When you own your own shadow, it no longer has to be projected. When Marcus acknowledges his own desire for freedom, he might start taking small, healthy risks. He might book a spontaneous weekend trip. He might take a pottery class instead of working late. As he integrates his own shadow, his obsessive need for the chaotic free spirit will diminish. He no longer needs her to live it out for him because he is learning to live it himself in a balanced and conscious way. He can then meet a woman and see her, not his own missing parts. This is the beginning of authentic connection. Part 4: The alchemical solution, individuation and withdrawing the projection. We have dissected the wound, the mechanism, and the fuel. Now we must talk about the cure. The cure is not a 5-step trick to find a better partner. The cure is a lifelong process of transformation that Jung called individuation. Individuation is the journey of becoming whole. It is the process of integrating the disparate parts of your psyche, your ego, your complexes, your anima or animus, your shadow, into a unified, conscious self. It is the ultimate act of self-reliance. It is the alchemical process of turning the lead of your psychological pain into the gold of self-possession. The core of this alchemical work is the conscious and painful withdrawal of your projections. It is the moment you finally realize in your bones that the salvation you are seeking is not in them. The love, validation, security, and freedom you desperately crave from the person who can't give it to you are in fact qualities of your own soul that you have abandoned. Your attraction to them was simply your psyche's desperate, last-ditch attempt to get you to notice what you were missing inside yourself. Let's return to Alara, the woman drawn to emotionally distant men who mirrored her father. Let's imagine she hits rock bottom. The latest brilliant, unavailable man has discarded her, and the pain is so immense it finally shatters the pattern. She is broken, and in that brokenness she has a choice: find another screen to project on, or finally turn the projector off. She chooses the latter. The work is not glamorous, it's not a romantic montage. It is gritty and solitary. When the agonizing urge to text him arises, she doesn't. She sits with the feeling. She asks the feeling, which is really her wounded inner child, "What do you need right now?" The answer isn't him. The answer is reassurance. Safety, to be told I am enough. And so, Alara, the adult, begins to self-parent. She literally speaks to herself, out loud or in a journal. "You are enough. Your worth is not determined by anyone else's attention. You are safe. I am here. I will not abandon you." She starts a new project, not to impress a future partner, but for the sheer joy of it, validating herself at every step. She learns to sit in her own company on a Saturday night and not feel the terror of loneliness, but the quiet strength of solitude. She is giving herself, piece by piece, everything she tried to outsource to men who had nothing to give. One day, months later, she bumps into a man who is her old type. He has that same charismatic distance, that same intoxicating hint of unavailability. He turns his high-wattage charm on her, and a miracle happens. She feels nothing. A mild curiosity, perhaps, but the old, frantic, magnetic pull is gone. The hook can't find purchase because the wound it used to latch onto has been healed over with the scar tissue of self-love. She has withdrawn the projection. She sees him now not as a savior or a challenge, but just as a man, one who is clearly not capable of the connection she now knows she deserves. She smiles, wishes him well, and walks away, free. This is the ultimate power. It is not the power to attract anyone you want. It is the power to be completely fine if you don't. It's the power to walk into any room and not be scanning for a source of validation, because you are your own source. This is the actionable path of individuation. It is a commitment to radical self-responsibility. Embrace solitude. You must voluntarily spend time alone, not as a punishment, but as a laboratory for self-discovery. This is where you will learn to face your own demons and discover you are stronger than they are. Become your own parent. Actively identify the emotional needs that were not met in your childhood. Was it validation, safety, playfulness, unconditional love? And then create daily rituals to give those things to yourself. Be the reliable, loving parent to your own inner child that you never had. Find your purpose, not your person. Shift your life's primary quest from finding the one to finding your own mission. Pour that vast ocean of energy you've been spending on romantic obsession into your work, your art, your community, your own growth. When you have a mission, a partnership becomes a wonderful addition, not a desperate necessity. Practice conscious detachment when you feel the old pull, the obsession, the fantasy starting to spin. Stop. Name it. This is my father complex acting up. This is my anima projection. This is my shadow fascination. By naming it, you create a space between you and the compulsion. In that space lies your freedom. This is not easy. It is the hardest work you will ever do. It requires you to grieve the fantasy, to feel the pain of the original wound without anesthetic, and to take on the terrifying responsibility of being the sole author of your own happiness. Conclusion. So we come back to the beginning. That ache of loving someone who can't give you anything. You should now see it for what it is. It is not a weakness of your heart. It is the unerring compass of your soul pointing north. It is pointing directly at the unhealed parental complex, the unintegrated anima or animus, the disowned shadow. That person, that beautiful, frustrating, empty vessel was never the prize. They were the messenger. Their inability to love you was the universe's brutal, merciful way of forcing you to learn to love yourself. The wound is not a curse, it is a map. The pain is not a punishment, it is a directional signal. Your obsession was never about them, it was about a homecoming to the parts of yourself you left behind long ago. The choice you face now is clear. You can continue to chase ghosts. You can continue to audition for roles in other people's broken plays, hoping for a standing ovation of love that will never come. You can spend the rest of your life as an emotional beggar, hoping for scraps from an empty table. Or you can thank the messenger for delivering their painful, vital message and then let them go. You can turn your gaze inward and begin the great, heroic work of becoming whole. The journey of individuation is not for the faint of heart. It is for warriors. It is a call to summon a level of courage and honesty you may not know you possess. Stop trying to get water from a stone. The well is within you. It is time to start digging. The wound that makes you love someone who can't give you anything is not a life sentence. It is the key that can unlock the door to your own, complete and unshakable self. The only love that will ever truly heal you is the love your own soul is demanding you give to it. The work starts now.